It's Throwback Thursday, and we're looking into the 50s, and I'll tell you, I don't think there was any better time for cars. Classic cars of the 50s are the most beautiful cars, by my reckoning, that America ever made. The most muscular cars, probably the most dangerous cars as well, with their metal dashboards. Joining us now is Blake Goodbey of the Sarasota Classic Car Museum, who knows all about these cars. You've been in business showing cars to the public for how long now?
In 1953, the Classic Car Museum opened, and my family has owned it for the last 20 years.
That's amazing. And how do you choose your cars? What is it? Do you instantly fall in love with a car and say, "That we need that in the museum"? Or
pretty much, or they just come along and it's just like, you know, you can't take your eyes off it, so you got to have it.
You have some amazing cars there. Tell us some of the highlights. You have a Batmobile, I think, and you have a few others.
Yes, I had the Batmobile for a while. I had the Pink Panther car. Have the Beatles cars, Paul McCartney's Mini Cooper, a couple of John Lennon's Mercedes.
Pretty amazing. Yeah. Do the cars kind of rotate through your museum, or are the cars that are there always the ones that are there? How does that work?
We rotate probably 10 to 20 cars a year. Different cars come in.
So every time you go, you're going to see something new?
You'll probably see 5 to 10 different new cars all the time.
Cool. Well, Beth is digging this one.
Yes,
Beth.
I am.
Girl, you're looking good in this car, I'll tell you what.
Well, this is a 1953 Eldorado, Cadillac Eldorado, first time they've ever made it, so amazing. And then they said right now it's like $200,000.
Really?
If you were to buy this today, but because it's the first time, the first one ever made. So the first year they made this car.
It's just gorgeous. I mean, the color of this, the paint job is just amazing.
It is. And they completely restored it. Everything they said is back to what it looked like if it was in 1950.
Is it comfy? Is it Cadillac comfy?
It fits well for me.
You look great in it. All right, take it for a spin, Beth. Blake, let's take a look at this one. What do we have here? This is the Chrysler 300?
Yeah, 55 Chrysler 300.
And they're still making 300s?
They still make 300s. It's their highline vehicle. It was then, and it still is now.
Yeah. And is this the first 300 ever made? Is that right?
I believe in 54 they made the first 300. But Chrysler was always known to have the fastest 50s cars.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that. So this is the
Stephanie, like
Mom-mobile. Hi. Look at the space in here. I cannot get over how big these benches are. And obviously this was the era before seat belts, which is not a good thing. However, I can totally picture 3 kids packed in the front, another few packed in the back, road tripping across the country. I love it.
Excuse me, did you not say that you grew up in one of these cars?
You know what? Not quite this era, John Scalzi. Thank you very much. But I do remember the big, huge bench seats across the front where I'd go ride with my grandparents, and I'd beg to sit right up front in the middle. But you were talking about metal dashboards and not safe.
Yes.
Seriously.
No seatbelts.
No seatbelts. We got
dashboard.
knobs poking out everywhere.
Steering wheels that would impale you.
Yeah, so
but
obviously,
what fun.
but what fun. But what fun. And just what space. I love the spaciousness.
Yeah. Don't you love the design, though? I mean, how it's like a traveling living room.
It is.
It's so comfy.
It is very comfortable, very classy.
Yeah,
So
and the
I like
chrome is beautiful. I wish they would do more of this today. You know, more of this kind of beauty.
A middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. A middle
and
ground.
This one is gorgeous. Okay, you take that for a spin too. Enjoy
All right,
it.
I'm off with the kids.
Oh, the Cadillac Eldorado, the Mac Daddy of Cadillacs.
Yes.
Right? Tell us a little about this car. This is gorgeous.
This is even more Mac Daddy of a Cadillac Eldorado. This was the BROUGHAM. This cost more, than a Rolls Royce new. Very expensive car.
Now, why would they have made this car? I mean, what was there a designer that came along and said, this is going to be the most beautiful car?
This is when
ever
the
made?
designers ran the companies, not the corporate, not the accountants. So this is when they wanted beauty, they wanted stainless, they wanted huge fins and chrome.
Well, if they wanted beauty, they got it with Linda Carson in this car.
Do you know this came out 2 years in 1958, 2 years before I graduated from college? I could have dated in this car. I didn't, however. People like Frank Sinatra own cars like this. Is that right? The Secretary of State, people like that. It cost $11,000. That was a huge amount back then. You could buy a house for $12,000. So, John, did you ever see one of these before?
I have seen these cars. These are gorgeous cars, but I did not realize that you were saying they cost $11,000, $13,000 to sell, but they cost so much more to manufacture,
Yeah,
right?
it cost about $24,000 to manufacture.
So
they
they
lost
sold
a
each
ton
one
of
of these
money.
at a 50%.
$11,000 loss on each, $13,000 loss on each one. Why did they do that?
Basically, I think what Cadillac's thought was is they wanted to have something like pinnacle, and they wanted like a Sears executive, or like somebody to have the more expensive than a Rolls-Royce type of feel.
So they just wanted these in the hands of
Powerful people.
people who would show that Cadillac
Yeah.
Eldorado was the
Famous
finest
people,
car in
yeah.
the world.
Question. Linda Carson, did you ever go parking in one of these? Because this is a
Only you
big
would ask that
fat
question, Stephanie.
I don't think it's appropriate, but Beth and I, we could lay down back here. I'm not saying we would.
And you know what?
Did
When
you
we
ever
went-
do that?
When we went parking, we would have a car full of people. There would probably be 6 or 7 couples, so you did more talking than anything else, which was probably a very lucky thing.
Would anybody have ever let you go in a car with a boy like this, though?
My mother or dad, you mean?
Yes.
Of course, I was a nice girl.
Oh, yeah, I would never let my kid here. This is a big back seat.
Wasn't your dad a preacher?
He was.
That's right.
But when we pulled out in the driveway, he'd be out here beating on the window saying, "Come inside."
Absolutely gorgeous. We'll take one last look at these
One last
gorgeous
tour.
cars. Sarasota Car Museum. Sure do appreciate you coming in and
Thank you
telling us
very much,
all
John.
about these beautiful, beautiful cars. I'll
Loving
tell you,
it.
they're up for sale as well.
Yes, some of them are. We have
That's
a
amazing.
dealership as well.
So if you haven't been in a while, the Sarasota Car Museum, or if you have never been, you really got to check it out. Just how many cars? 90?
We have under roof over 180.
Over 180
amazing.
cars,
I'll
and they
take
are
that one.
gorgeous, gorgeous vehicles.
Nice.
All right, thank you so much for coming in and sharing today. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, girls, grab your cars and let's take one home. What do you think?
All right, let's go. Let's go for a tour.
That'd be nice. We'll be right back.
ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5.